Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to show you a game played between the 5 times World Chess champion Magnus Carlsen and Deepan Chakkaravarthy, a grandmaster from India. And this game is played in the 6th Dubai Open in the year 2004. And without any further ado, let's get into the game. Magnus is playing with the white pieces and Deepan Chakravarti is playing with the black pieces. And Magnus opens the game with e4 and c5. The Sicilian defense is on the board. Knight f3, knight c6, and if you expect an open Sicilian, no. Magnus plays knight to c3, keeping the position closed. Knight to f6 is played, and bishop to b5, transposing into the Rossolimo variation of the Sicilian defense. Pawn to e5. Pawn to e5 is the is is one of the main moves in the position. Like this, just clamps down the d4 square, and Magnus takes on c6 and d takes c6 is played. Here d takes c6 is not that good because d takes c6 reinforces the center, and the queen's vision of the d file is more open. If uh, b takes c6 is played, then the position would be like a bit more cramped and it takes a lot of time for black to open up things in the center really quick. But the thing is, now the e5 pawn is hanging, and Magnus just grabs the pawn. Knight takes e5. Knight takes e4. You may ask, what? Isn't that a knight sacrifice? Yes, Magnus just captures back, but there is this beautiful queen to d4 fork hitting both the knights, so only one of the knights could be saved. So Magnus just castles because he's going to lose one knight anyway. So by castling earlier, if queen captures one of the knights, then white can bring a rook and harass the queen because it will be in the same file as the king. So that is what Magnus does because black does. Black just plays queen takes e5 and Magnus plays the move d4 first before playing rook e1 and harassing the queen. This move is pretty critical because this move just instigates and this opens up the bishop, and that will be very essential. Going rook to e1 immediately will have less firepower because there will be only rook and a knight. The queen could become active, but this move sacrifices a pawn, but it activates an important piece. So now there are bishop, knight, rook, and queen all ready to smash black's position. But if black plays perfectly, the position is equal. Like after capturing c takes d4, there is a rook to e1 now. White is down a pawn, but the evaluation is plus 0.8, which is huge because it shows white has really a very good amount of compensation. So after rook to e1, bishop to e6 is played, and the idea of this is there are no more discoveries to the queen, delivering a check because if knight f6, there is queen f6, knight d6, there is queen d6 similarly. So the knight cannot do much in this position. So Magnus just goes bishop to g5, activating the bishop, and this just controls the diagonal, and it also disallows black from playing long castles, which is even a move here. Many of us will forget that black could even castle long. So yeah, one of the purposes to stop black from castling because white is castled, and your aim should be if you're castled and if your opponent is castled, you should not let them castle and get to safety very easily. So you should just instigate and try to extract the juice out of them. You know, bishop to e7 is played, but bishop to e7 is a slight inaccuracy. Queen to d5 would be better because it's good to just get the queen away from the vision of this e1 rook. So that would be very better. Why? Because you can move the queen to d5 or even to c7, I would say. Because this bishop is there. There are no discoveries on the king. The king can go to safety very easily. So that's the concept. Bishop to e7 is Slightly inaccurate. F4 is a wonderful move, taking advantage of this bishop to e7 move because now the queen has to go somewhere. And queen to d5 is played now, but there is bishop takes e7, king takes e7, and black cannot castle. That's the key here. So now black's king is stuck in the center, which is very good for white. So f5 is such a brilliant move because you may ask, okay, if bishop f5, there are nasty discoveries. I agree. What if queen f5, right? Queen takes f5. The thing is, there is queen takes d4, which is played by white, and after queen to d5, offering a queen trade, which is a blunder. The best move in the position is actually to go rook h d8 and counterattack the queen and dislodge it from the center of the board. That is the central file. If the rook is brought to the d8 square, then this queen has to leave somewhere. Like, yeah, that is queen takes g7, but it's not scary, you know. It's winning for white. It's plus 1.3, but it's not dead lost for black in this case. Black could maybe hold if white makes any inaccuracies. So instead of that, black thought, okay, white's position is very active. So let's just trade queens, and we're up upon, and let's win the end game. But the problem is, black is completely lost in this position. So feel free to pause the video and win the game for Magnus. Take your own time. Congratulations on attacking this king through dark square diagonals, and the winning move is to b4 check. The idea is simple. c5 blocks, but there is knight takes c5, threatening nasty discoveries. And see, look at this. This rook on a1 will join the attack very soon. a5, trying to dislodge the queen from the defense of the knight so that black can capture the knight. But there is queen a3, staying along this diagonal and threatening nasty discoveries from the knight. So queen to d4 is played instead. King goes to h1 and queen to b4. So this idea is to block the queen's vision so that uh, the black queen is interposing and blocking the discovery. So queen to e3 is played, and in this position, black resigned the game. Yes, the game ended here. You may ask, what? Why did black resign? Black resigned because what can actually black do in this position? You just think. Actually, now the threat is to go knight takes e6, f takes e6, and queen takes e6, check, supported by the rook, and wherever the king goes, the other rook gets into the action. Sorry about that. The other rook will get into the action, or if it goes to the f file, this rook moves to the f file and it will be mate. And if it's difficult for you to calculate, I will show you one line. Let's say black this rook. That is knight takes e6, f e6, queen e6. If king f8, this is checkmate. And if king d8, it is actually mate in 10, followed by queen takes e8, check, king c7, queen takes a8. Already white is literally winning because white just gobbled up both of the black's rooks, and it is mate in 8 moves. So it is totally lost for black. So yeah, so that's the idea behind this move. And the other thing is, black cannot just run away to safety, like cannot simply go king f8 because there is knight takes e6, and if f e6, after queen takes e6, it's m7, it's mate in 7, After g6, rook a d1, not hurrying with rook f1. That also wins. It's mate in 9, but just bringing the other rook to the party and just winning. Here, black has to sacrifice his queen. Queen takes e1, and after rook takes e1, yeah. So the position is totally lost. That's why seeing all the variations after queen to e3 played by Magnus, Deepan Chakkaravarthy resigned the game and Magnus emerged victorious. And if you liked the video, consider subscribing to the channel, like the video and share it to a friend. Thank you. Bye bye.